Hello and welcome to Your Health Reclaimed with DrPND, where we help you reclaim your health with tips, tools, and resources to live your most optimal and vibrant life. Here's your host, DrPND.
Hello and welcome to Your Health Reclaimed. This is your host, DrPND. And today we come for another podcast to talk about a pretty common subject that I encounter and I deal with, and that is the subject of gout. To say the least, it is definitely not a pleasant experience. But I want to give you some really good, again, applicable bottom line tips of what you can do immediately to really help to, lessen the symptomology and the suffering of gout. Eliminate it, or better yet, even completely prevent it. So these are a few 7 or 8 suggestions that I'm going to give you that I apply myself with my clients all the time, and they work without fail. You just have to obviously apply them yourself, and you have to be stringent, and you have to have the discipline to continue to apply them in order to get the benefit. So not a single one of those aspects that I'm going to talk about is going to address gout by itself. Sometimes it can, especially alcohol. We'll get to that. But generally speaking, these 7 or 8 that I'm going to talk about are really the ones that are the most important, and really more often than not can completely take care of the gout and prevent it from ever occurring. But at the very least, if you apply all these that I'm going to talk about, you'll be able to most likely completely, eliminate and reverse the gout if you are dealing with that. For some of you, depending on different factors, obviously it can take a while, but nonetheless, these are staples that have to be applied without fail when dealing with a gout issue. So gout is actually one of the oldest sort of diseases really ever recorded, which is really interesting. But gout affects an estimated of over 8 million people in the United States, and it occurs approximately 4% or so of the population. However, the risk of getting gout does increase proportionally with age. About 10% of people that are 80 years or older have this form of what can be a very excruciating, painful form of arthritis. So while gout can affect different joints, typically affects the big toe, and that's the one that experiences, that flare up. So this is really one of the most common symptomology that you see. The classical presentation of gout is that it occurs after trauma or overindulging in food or alcohol. Obviously, things like high stress, chronic stress, fatigue, surgery, unresolved emotional stress, infections, and or poor circulation can also, believe it or not, precede gout, which oftentimes, again, stresses the body out. And, one of those stressors or combination of those stressors can really throw the body over the edge. And, if you're genetically predisposed to that, it can trigger a gout attack, cause gout. So gout can sort of come out of nowhere. A lot of times people have a good time, or they'll have done something and all of a sudden they'll wake up, or at night time they'll start feeling the toe, and in the morning they'll wake up with, pain. And again, it can come out of nowhere and without any warnings, or really what people assume without any apparent reason. Often the pain will start at night, like I said, and kind of become progressively more severe and debilitating to the point that get up in the morning, they're really, feeling it. The affected joint usually become, red, swollen, hot, and exquisitely tender to the touch. Very, very sensitive. That's why a lot of people, they're working office jobs. They can't really, wear shoes unless like an open toe shoe or some form of a sandal or flip flop. The overlying skin also become this shiny red or purplish with signs of infection ultimately. So the first attack usually will affect a single joint, but later attacks can affect multiple joints. So people with gout can experience fever, rapid heart rate, things like chills, feeling just generally wiped out and tired. The first few weeks usually last only a few. The first few attacks usually will last only a few days, but subsequent later attacks a lot of times can persist for weeks with sometimes joint deformity occurring if the gout continues for a long time and it is untreated. So gout is technically an inherited disorder, but again, this is a topic of genetics as opposed to epigenetics. Just because somebody has inherited weakness of some kind or a predisposition to something does not mean that they necessarily have to have it, okay? It boils down to lifestyle and nutrition primarily. So, like I said, it can be, as inherited disorder technically, in which ultimately the breakdown of substances called purines results in a dangerous accumulation of uric acid in the blood. The high level of uric acid results in uric acid crystals that form and deposit in joints. And the ones, for some reason, is almost always, particularly the big toe of the foot. But feet and knees in general are also very susceptible. The crystals can also create uric acid kidney stones. So that's a form of kidney stone that some people that suffer with gout sometimes can also get as well. Gout is usually diagnosed based on signs and symptoms. Blood tests alone really are not sufficient for the diagnosis because high amounts of uric acid actually may be found in a blood test. However, during a gout attack, frequently for some reason, blood uric acid could be very normal, and oftentimes it is normal. So the good news about gout is that if you're willing to change your diet, your lifestyle, gout is relatively simple to deal with naturally, and is even simpler to prevent in the first place. So what can you do to get rid of it and prevent it in the first place? Well, first and foremost, if you do drink, you have to eliminate alcohol. Yep, a lot of people don't want to hear about alcohol, but I've done 2 podcasts on alcohol already, and I'll be doing another one here pretty soon. And honestly, I'm not going to stop because people do not realize the dangers and the perils of chronic alcohol consumption. And back to the point, on those podcasts, a lot of people don't really understand and think that they're, moderately lightly consuming alcohol, which in fact they're not. That's a problem. Just because you're not alcoholic, or you're not a closet alcoholic, or you have alcoholic tendencies, or have alcoholism in your family, whatever it might be, it does not mean that you are not drinking safely. And really, there's really no safe level of alcohol consumption. We're not talking about a few times a year on a good celebration, but daily, even weekly, regular consumption is problematic. And with people, especially susceptible people who have chronic disease, will suffer because of it without fail. Anyway, we're going to go to another podcast for that, but alcohol, you have to eliminate it. Alcohol affects the gout-prone person in 2 ways. So, 1, alcohol does accelerate purine breakdown that turns into uric acid. So, at the same time, number 2, alcohol also increases lactate production, which impairs kidney function temporarily. When that happens, your kidneys are less efficient at filtering uric acid out of the blood. Frequently, acute gout attacks occur after a night of drinking. Talk to anybody who is a chronic gout sufferer, has suffered from gout, and if they're honest with you, there's a very high probability they have had a good amount of drinking the night before or a few days, perhaps leading up to the attack. For many individuals, simply eliminating alcohol will prevent gout. And this is why I talked about alcohol, the very first topic in this podcast. All right, moving on. Number 2, eliminate foods that are high in purines. You can look up what a purine is, but purines, those food chemicals, they're naturally occurring as well, and they're found in high amounts in animal products. Organ meats, especially very high. Beef, bison, shellfish, things like especially herring, sardines, mackerel, and anchovies. For those people that are very sensitive and have chronic gout, should be avoided or almost entirely eliminated, at least for a long period of time. Brewer's yeast and baker's yeast also have purines, and depending on what kind of baked goods people eat, which a lot of people like to eat baked goods such as bread and pasta and stuff like that. I'm not certain of possible bagels. You will have baker's yeast without fail. So that's something that has to be eliminated. Restrict consumption of foods as well with moderate purine levels. Moderate amount of purines are found in things like beans, fish, poultry, spinach, asparagus, and mushrooms. So you want to restrict the amount of consumption of those moderate containing foods. So one, eliminate foods that are high in purines, and then restrict, at least for the time being, the moderate foods that are high in purines. Consume a high fiber diet. So, that's kind of like a general consensus, pretty much. You guys have probably heard this 1,000 times. But after eliminating high purine foods from your diet, you really should have, and follow a high fiber diet. Low-fat diet that is also rich in whole and processed and preferably organic foods. I'm not a proponent of low-fat diets. You guys should know that. I always strive for good, healthy balance based on the person's bio-individuality and current needs. However, because we are talking about gout, obviously, the fastest way to eliminate that is, eliminating, high-fat foods, especially hydrogenated oils of any kind, and trans fats out of your diet. But we'll get to this in a little bit. So, eating, again, organic is very important. The chemicals in our food do make a difference. How wet, what or where, I don't really know. But we have definitely seen a pattern that, eating organic definitely is better for gout, for anything else really, but in this case, gout, than not eating organic food. So try to eat organic. A diet in which you're, consuming basically a lot of fresh fruits, vegetables, whole and processed, wheat-free, gluten-free grains, nuts, especially walnuts, and seeds, it's very helpful. Okay, basically a vegetarian type of, more vegetarian plant-based diet. Shoot for consuming a good minimum of 30 grams of total fiber per day. If you're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and healthy, non-gluten, non-gliadin-based grains, you should have no problem getting well over 30 grams of good, high-quality fiber per day. So the third aspect, the fourth aspect of that is going to be minimize, better yet, eliminate, sugars and processed foods out of your diet completely. Quite honestly, you will have to eliminate processed foods completely. If you really want a full chance of healing and reversing gout, the fastest, obviously the better, is you have to eliminate processed foods. But even natural sugars should be drastically decreased, better yet eliminated. Also, like we talked about in the previous aspect of gout, we really need to eliminate and decrease fats for a while. That includes saturated fats primarily, whether it's natural or not. Obviously, trans fats are part of processed foods, but saturated fats have to, be eliminated. And here's why. So, first of all, simple sugars, especially refined sugars, including honey, including maple syrup, corn syrup. So these are obviously the worst. Date syrup, and sugar, coconut sugar, which is another popular one. Even though it might be organic, it might be non-processed, refined, it's still sugar. Okay, so sugar is sugar, and that has to go if you really want to take out, reverse gout. So, these sugars increase uric acid production, while saturated fats actually decrease uric acid excretion. So the reason to eliminate fats, even healthy fats, temporarily or drastically decrease them, is because sugars will increase uric acid production. I'm going to say this again. And fats temporarily will decrease uric acid excretion. So remember, the goal is to not only lower uric acid production, but also to optimize and increase excretion, the removal of uric acid. Okay, so this is the issue with fats, because I know a lot of people, you're a proponent of good, healthy fats, and yes, I am. But in this case, this is the reason why temporarily we have to eliminate them for fastest removal. We should eliminate trans fats, any kind of processed fats, that are especially from industrial vegetable seed oils, completely out of your diet. We have talked about that many times. But healthy fats like coconut oil, coconut butter, avocado, that oil, olive oil, beef tallow, ghee, obviously, like we talked about beef or bison, these are high in purines, but even they're healthy, high fat content, omega containing fats, this still has to be decreased. So this is the reason why. Okay. So yes, that includes organic grass-fed dairy, butter and cheeses, and healthy fats in meats and fish, including salmon. So temporarily, and then once the gut's going, and you have adopted a good, healthy lifestyle and diet, and eliminate the alcohol and the processed food, you can go back to eating the healthy fats. They're not going to cause gout. Okay. Quite frankly, nor would the proteins of healthy, organic, grass-fed, pasture-raised, wild-caught meat and seafood. So keep that in mind. All right, the next point is eat moderate amount of protein. A lot of people undereat protein, believe it or not. The amount of protein, we're eating, should be adequate. Generally speaking, again, it's just a ballpark general figure, 0.8 to 1 gram per kilogram of body weight of protein ingestion. So if somebody weighs 220 pounds, that's roughly 200 kilograms. I'm sorry, that's roughly 100 kilograms. So you should be ingesting at least 0.8 to, 80 to 100 grams of high quality animal-based protein per day. Okay, that's just a general good rule to go by. And it's very true. Research has confirmed that many times in applicability. If you're an athlete, if you have high muscle mass, if you train heavy, obviously that that can go up. But the 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight per day is the minimum. Yeah, that's just a fact. Okay. So you don't go excessive, but that is definitely the minimum you should go for. I would go personally as far as 1 gram to 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. Okay. That seemed to work with that optimally, especially if you're an active person. So proteins are made up, as you guys know, of amino acids, which the body then recombines in many different ways to make enzymes, hormones, connective tissue, things like bone, collagen, skin, muscle, other organs. You name it. It's every structure in the body is going to involve amino acid content, and the function of that is essential for that. So another important role for the amino acids is to increase the amount of uric acid that's excreted from the body by the kidneys. This, in turn, lowers the amount of uric acid that circulates in the blood and can help reduce the risk of another flare-up and obviously address the current flare-up. So now you might think that if some protein is good, then eating a lot more, is better, but that's not the case at all. So high protein, especially if you're over-consuming protein, it will increase acid production. So it can go the other way, right? So, which is definitely not what you want, at least not right now, if you have gout. So don't think that overabundance in protein is better. The right amount is better. That's really, I should say, the right amount is best. Period. So keep that in mind. Now, real quick, people always ask me, how do you calculate, a number of grams of protein you should be eating? It's really simple. Take your body weight in pounds. Better yet, take your lean body weight in pounds and convert it to kilograms by dividing it by 2.2. You can use an online calculator, obviously, pounds to kilogram. So take your weight, and technically you should know your lean body mass, and you should divide by 2.2. That'll give you the kilograms, and then multiply that by 0.8 or to to 1. So not 0.8 to 1, up to 1.2, and that'll give you the amount of protein you should be ingesting. So, for example, say if somebody weighs 150 pounds, and relatively speaking, they're not morbidly obese, because if they're morbidly obese at 150 pounds, that means they're very petite, have very low muscle mass. But say they're normal, healthy body fat around 10, 12, 13%. For the sake of argument, we'll just take 150 pounds divided by 2.2, which equals 68. And then we multiply 68 times 0.8, or up to 1.2. So in this case, that'll be, if you multiply by 0.8, that will give you 54 grams per day. So 150-pound person, if they're within a normal-ish body composition, body fat percentage, they should be ingesting 55, 60 grams of protein per day minimum. Okay, so that's how you calculate it. It's very easy. Any online resource will tell you how to do that. So during an attack, we really have to rely on fruits and vegetables, honestly, for 2 weeks. That's something that I really want to talk about. So if you have a gout attack, okay, I personally would, even for a few days, eliminate protein completely out of your diet, okay? For prevention, after the attack, or if it's a very mild attack, the guidelines that I gave are good. But if you something severe, you have a really aggressive attack, or you really need to get rid of it ASAP, the soonest way possible, I'll even take out. Basically, I'll go fasting, at least intermittent fasting, with fruits and vegetables, good healthy fruits and vegetables, fresh or frozen, throughout the day. That'll be something that I think will be greatly beneficial, and it really does work well. Okay. Again, that's during like a heavy acute attack. Or better yet, you can also do juices from self-juiced or freshly juiced vegetables, mostly, and fruit. Juices are excellent, especially, for example, cherry juice. Something that we're going to talk about in the next point. But if you have the ability to drink celery juice, that is one of the best things you can do for gout, because celery juice is extremely alkaline. It's really well balanced with sodium, and in general, it's a phenomenal way to really counteract and clear the uric acid out of your body very fast. Not to mention, it has a lot of other benefits, but that'll be something that you can do. Blueberries, cherries, strawberries, these also help neutralize uric acid and are really obviously full of antioxidants. Foods that are also high in vitamin C will also help eliminate uric acid. I would, however, try not to eat many citrus fruits, kind of cut those down a little bit, and eliminate also peppers, especially bell peppers, for the time being, if you can. This, again, we're talking optimality. Back to the juice, I mentioned cherry juice. So the next point is drinking tart cherry juice or the extract of it. Okay, either a concentration, or they even have it in capsules. There is a dehydrated cherry juice extract. So for decades, drinking tart cherry juice has been recommended to reduce symptoms of gout. We all know that. But it really wasn't until recently that this was based largely on anecdotal evidence and theoretical understanding of the potency of tart cherry juice and its anti-inflammatory properties. But until recently, that was just, again, anecdotal evidence and more sort of a theoretical understanding. Now there's actually plenty of clinical evidence showing the effectiveness of tart cherry juice. So that's something that you can get from any grocery store, usually speaking. Obviously, you want to be organic, preferably. At the very least, you just want to be a concentrate or a nothing but actual juice without any preservatives or sweeteners or added sugar. Obviously, is the last thing you need. And it is amazing. If you do not like the taste, can handle it, you can order a company called Solaray. I've used those many times for over decade and a half with people. Solaray makes that phenomenal product, and they have a tart cherry juice extract capsule that is a very high potency extract. But Solaray, that company, specializes in those, in making that tart cherry extract, along with also had to have a phenomenal urinary health or urinary tract infection, actually, formula with cranactin or cranberry extract, which actually has both. So that's something that, in addition to the tart cherry juice extract, you can also get cranactin or cranberry extract, which is the brand name is called cranactin, and Solaray sells that. You can get it on Amazon and usually any of the local supplement stores, health food stores that are there. So really, it makes a big difference when you do the tart cherry juice extract. Dosing can be up to a person. But if you're getting the pure concentrate, that's very strong. I'll concentrate a couple of tablespoons of that with a glass of 8 to 10 ounces of water, and drink that 4 or 5 times a day on an empty stomach or before meals. That's something that does make a big difference. Now, one of the biggest studies was done in 2019, actually. It was a clinical trial published in the Journal of Current Development in Nutrition, and that demonstrated drinking 8 ounces of tart cherry juice per day, not the extract, just the juice itself, for 4 weeks reduced serum uric acid nearly 20%. So this is just the juice, not the concentrate, one time per day. So inflammatory also, they noticed that inflammatory markers such as C-reactive protein, or called CRP, were also reduced in the people drinking the tart cherry juice. So there's a lot of benefit for that. Like, you can also drink it for prevention. I mean, just this, it's really simple aspects that you can do that, really do not cost a lot of money at all and are very easy and practical to do. You can use that for prevention as well. Just if you want to just drink a, tart cherry juice every day or every other day after your gout attack, or if you've addressed your gout permanently, that's a really good way to keep things healthy and prevent it in the first place. So tart cherry juice extract, again, you want to hopefully buy organic, but if you don't have organic, it's not a big deal. Get the concentrated form. The concentrate, the head sell on Amazon. I've seen in different supermarkets, things like Whole Foods, Sprouts, Publix, still in Kroger. So it just depends on your region or where you live, but you can get, if not, again, online stores have it as well, aside from Amazon. And to repeat, I'll dose it 2 tablespoons, measuring tablespoons of concentrated, into 8 to 10 ounces of water, purified water, and drink that, 3, 4, 5 times a day if needed, on empty stomach or before meals. So that leads me to the next point, and that is drinking plenty of properly purified water. There's going to be either high quality true mountain spring water, like Green Valley. That's a really good, one of the best probably, waters available to us that I know of, or reverse osmosis or distilled water. However, you cannot buy distilled water that has been sitting in a plastic jug in the supermarket, because you are going to have plasticizers in there that have leached from the container into the water. So either you have a distilled water access, like a machine, I have one. It's looks like a large coffee making machine. There's a countertop, makes about 6 gallons a day. Or reverse osmosis water, which you can buy from the big water machines in the grocery stores, or you can get a reverse osmosis water system that is under the sink in your counter. Either way, the water has to be purified. So don't drink tap water or the usual, spring water or whatever waters they have in bottles, because one, it's not pure water. Number two, you're going to have plastics. They have leached chemicals from the plastic bottle. They have leached in there by default. So stay hydrated. Obviously, everybody knows can help dilute things, including uric acid in the blood, and reduce the likelihood that it will precipitate out into uric acid crystals. That's why it's extremely important to stay hydrated well on a whole nother level when you're prone to gout, and especially if you do have gout already, you try to get rid of it. Good rule of thumb is to drink, again, half your body weight in ounces of water per day. That's a general but very true, relatively speaking, advice. But I'll go higher than that. If you have a gout attack, especially, I'll go up to as much as 3/4 of your body weight per day to be able to flush those and dilute the uric acid, so it doesn't have a chance to precipitate out of the blood and start forming into uric acid crystals, which ultimately that's what causes the severe pain. Now, again, if you weigh 150 pounds, you divide that by 2, that's 75. So you should be aiming at least 75 ounces per day of purified water if you weigh 150 pounds. But remember, things like tea and coffee don't count. Also, part of that water consumption would not be counted if you drink the tartar juice concentrate extract like we talked about. So just keep those things in mind. I believe actually this is about 7 things that we talked about. 8 is really non-specific, but that is, again, bottom line is eliminate processed food. I cannot tell you eliminating processed food has effect on the immediate aspect of healing gout, but also in the long term of healing it and preventing it. Because when you eat processed foods, you are causing damage to your body by A, causing deficiency from nutrient depletion, and number two, inflammation, global inflammation in the body from the nature of the processed foods, because they are metabolic poisons. That's just the bottom line. There's no other way around that. So these are the two ways that processed foods in general will harm you, regardless of what symptomology you have. So in this case, eating processed foods will set you up easier to get gout if you're prone to it, or if you get it, that could be definitely more severe. Here's the bottom line: nobody has ever gotten a gout attack from going on a retreat, a health retreat, or having a delicious homemade salad with some good high quality protein and healthy fats, and some juice or some good purified water the night before. When people get a gout attack, there's always been some kind of gluttonous debauchery going on. Okay, let's be honest. So people went to a party, they hit it hard, they hit the alcohol hard, they hit the processed foods hard. They, perhaps they might have smoked a little bit, done a little something else for further recreation, but nobody has come back from a healthy retreat and healthy eating and gotten a gout attack. That just doesn't happen. I see it time and time again. Either it was a collective bad lifestyle choices and or an overindulgence of a particular event, the days or the day or night leading up to the gout attack. That just always has happened that way. I to this day I've never seen anybody like I said before, that came back and they said, yeah, we just had a phenomenal retreat. We exercised and we did yoga, ate great salads, and even if whether it was vegan, vegetarian, or Mediterranean or mixed, we had some good juice, we had some awesome purified water, we had some kombucha or some herbal teas, and we got a gout attack. I've never seen it, and I most likely will never see it unless somebody's probably lying. So these are the 7 really 8 with the processed food aspect, things that you can do to eliminate gout and prevent it from ever coming back. So again, it boils down to nutrition and lifestyle. And guys, these podcasts, they most likely will get boring. I don't know. There's no anything exciting. There's no fads and programs, protocols. There's no sexy, nicely wrapped packages of programs and methods and secret formulas. I wish I can give you that. Obviously, it will make things so much easier on me and in you. That we can just take a supplement, or we can do maybe a little bit of a protocol of supplements, whatever it might be, either superfood of some kind, and all of our ailments to be gone forever and never come back. It doesn't work like that. It will never work like that. And again, this podcast is for the people that truly want to learn what the truth is, and they really want to get truly healthy, without deviation and being double-minded and trying to program hop and keep hope of some miraculous formula or method that is going to come along. That is the reality of the journey. It is discipline, it is diligence, it is consistency, persistency, day in and day out, and making the right lifestyle and nutritional choices without fail. There's no other way out, and there never will be another way out. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Stay strong, stay motivated the best you can. I know motivation weans off sometimes, and quite a bit for a long time, but stay strong and hang in there, because you will succeed. I promise. It doesn't matter how many times you fall. Really, the people that succeed, the ones that pick up right where they dropped off, or where they fell off, and get back up and keep going. It doesn't matter if you fall and you fail 1,000 times. As long as you get back up, you will succeed. I promise you. So if there's any formulas of success and secrets, like I always get asked all the time, if you want to call it a secret, that'll be the closest to it. Never give up. Keep going, because it will be worth it. I promise you that. So until next time, I hope you guys have a great and healthy day, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for your valuable time and for listening to the Your Health Reclaimed podcast with Dr. PND. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and share this episode with a person you know it can help. If we can help you in any way, or you would like to connect with Dr. PND, please visit drpnd.com. That's drpnd.com.